Hello, welcome to the Conscious Cruiser. I'm Chet from Sea Lake Journeys, and with me today I have Scott from Controversial Cruising and Alisa from Alisa's Adventures in Cruising. We formed a dynamic trio of the Conscious Cruiser, and we've got some great tips for you today about shore excursions. These are things you're going to need to know before you go.
Welcome into the Conscious Cruiser podcast, the know before you go approach to cruising and travel. The smartest cruiser is the Conscious Cruiser. And your conscious casters, Alisa, Chet, and Scott.
That's right. All about shore excursions. I am excited for this one. I'm not too much of a shore excursion guy, so I'm very interested to learn this podcast. One of my favorite.
And I guess I'm the opposite, Scott, because I love a shore excursion.
I know. I can't wait to hear your tips.
I'm with you, Alisa. If I'm at a port that I haven't been to 17 times, I've got to get off and go do something out there.
I see something.
That's right.
Okay, hey, we're going to kick it off here with our first know before you go tip for everybody. And it's know before you go shore excursion booking tips. You know, you've got to book the excursion before you can do the excursion. So let's kick off with our number one tips. Alisa, since you're very seasoned in this, I'm going to let you kick it off first.
Yes, you got to book. You got to actually book the shore excursion if you want to take the shore excursion. And the earlier you book them, the better, especially if you are trying to get some kind of a discounted rate. Whenever you see the discounted rate on either the website or the app, that's the time to get it. I know it might not be what you had budgeted for or what you were thinking that day, but don't try to hold out for the ultimate discount. They're going to sell out. If you see a sale, go for it.
Good tip.
That is fantastic and so true. How about it, Scott? What can you add to that?
So I would say, and honestly, I think that this is more recent than ever. I've been seeing a lot of horror stories from various Facebook groups and things like that from people taking third-party excursions. And now I did a lot of third-party excursions when I first started cruising and into, my 20s, things like that. But cruising was very different then than it is now. So there's a lot of things that could go wrong. And I actually just was reading an article on one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and one of the boats exploded. They did like a third-party snorkeling adventure, and this family who reported, they did it anonymously, but the middle of the boat, they said, smelled like gas, and they were, oh, it's fine. There were like 70 people on the boat, and the middle of the boat exploded, and there were pictures of people's faces, and people got hit with shrapnel and things like that. And the excursion company just said, oh well. She basically said nobody got anything, any compensation, and nothing. So my tip, I think nowadays, if I'm going to do an excursion, I'm going to look through the cruise lines. I know they are also still third party, but I mean, you still have some liability, more liability than you would if you were to book on your own. So if I'm doing an excursion, I'm booking it through the cruise line now.
Yeah, I highly recommend that as well.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. The tips I've got for you here is read the details of your excursions or do your research at very least. Mm-hmm. And reason why is you're going to find out some of these shore excursions have weight limits, height limits. They're also going to limit you if you have heart issues, back issues, neck issues, mobility issues, age. There's all kinds of things you need to know before you book this excursion, before you get there, and find out. Don't be surprised when you get there and say, well, I booked this. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, but you can't do this excursion for whatever reason it may be. You don't want to find that out when you get to the excursion. So make sure you read the description of it on the website. And another way to find out something else is go to your YouTube videos and Cruise Critic and ship reviews, things like that. And they'll show you why there may be a weight limit or even an age limit or a height limit. Find out why they have these things and understand, and don't try to circumnavigate those things.
Yeah.
Find out what you need to know before you book that excursion, and then make sure you pick the right one for you.
Absolutely. That's a really good tip. And that's something that I'm actually going to start to really live by next year, the end of next year, because I'm traveling with my father on the rock and roll cruise. And, he's got some diabetes and some health issues too, as well. And stability issues, because he does not have all of his toes. So he's got a special shoe. So those are some things when I'm looking into excursions that I want to do with him and he wants to do too as well. We have to look if he is able to, do a lot of walking or, what kind of situation it is. So I really think that is a good point to bring to light, Chet.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Chet, because sometimes the YouTube videos are so helpful when people show you what they have done and like you said, why maybe this is a problem or that is a problem. And it may not be that you have any particular, health issues that you're aware of, but maybe you just realize that it's 110 out there and you don't want to climb 500 steps that day. So like it's good information to know what exactly the conditions are before you head out.
Yes, and our video we did on Gumbelima Park was a perfect example of that. I showed people getting around. There were people who were otherwise able to walk around the first part of the park, but couldn't walk the rest of it because they couldn't get up those slippery stone stairs. And it was just too far for them, too hard to walk. And then the rest of the trail was kind of gravelly and slippery. And some people just had to just stop. And they had to bring a golf cart to them, and they had to pay extra to get a ride in that golf cart. Something you wouldn't know unless you see a YouTube video on it, because they're not going to tell you that in the description. They're not going to tell you that anywhere except on a video like that. We just happened to catch it, and we watched people have to go. And another thing they did wrong was wore the wrong shoes that day. We saw people in flip-flops and stuff, and they were like, I can't do this in the flip-flops. So there's more people paying to catch a golf cart ride and miss the last half of the park. So we urge people to, do your research before you book that excursion, before you go.
I wish I had known that before I tried to visit the Mayan ruins in Mexico. I did not fully appreciate just how narrow and steep those steps were to try and climb. It's like, you know what? It looks good from here.
Yeah, we saw billy goats turning around, walking away from that one. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a sign. Maybe it's a good picture from here.
Yes.
Go back.
Go back.
Go back.
Very nice.
Hey, I've got more questions for you, though. How about number 2 here? The know before you go, booking through the cruise line versus booking third party. All right. There's a big difference between booking with the cruise line and booking third party. Scott, how about kicking us off on this one?
So I echoed this, and I have had, so when I said I went on a lot of excursions when I was in my 20s and 30s, in fact, I will tell you, a lot of them were not booked through the cruise line. And like I said, cruising was very different back then, 10 years ago, than it is right now. Right. Yes. So I have saved some of those relationships. I'll give you a very good example. Okay. I have a lady who does a very good friend of mine now who does excursions in Jamaica. And Jamaica is one of those places where a lot of people are, I don't know if I really want to go out in Jamaica. And I don't blame you for that. Right. Yeah. But I have also done 4 different excursions with her. There have been people other YouTubers that have done excursions with her that know her, that are in her pictures and post about her. And she is completely safe. She can even customize where she takes you. She asked me this time around, I'm going to see her in October. She said, would your group like to visit a school and see a Jamaican school? I said, I really do think so. I asked the group and they said, yeah, we would love to see that. So she asked me of those things. Now, would I ever go out there and right now book a third party excursion in Jamaica? No, I would not. Right. But had I not met her 10 years ago and gone on 4 different excursions, this being my 5th, right? I would say no. So there is the difference, right? I am lucky enough, and I will say this: I am lucky enough to have cruised 10 years ago and have built some of these friends. I had a great friend in Belize who no longer lives there, and now I will not do an excursion in Belize for many reasons. But without him there, I'm not booking any kind of excursion. So I think if you want the ultimate peace of mind or the best peace of mind, go through the cruise line now. In 2024, where we're at, go through the cruise line, get the most liability. And sometimes, hey, Carnival could turn around and say there's nothing we could do. But
Yeah.
at least you tried, and then you have grounds to stand on. Okay, well, what legally can we do now if you don't want to do anything? What can we do? Okay, but book through the
Yeah.
cruise line. That's my tip, and that's I'm standing by it.
Agreed.
Agreed. I really have always booked through the cruise line. I think my parents instilled a healthy concern or fear about venturing off with the third party vendors because of things that they had heard had happened to their friends who had gone and had some problems. You know, we touched on this before, where you're going to a foreign country and different things happen, and it's kind of like an ebb and flow where there's different hot spots, so to speak, where you feel safer or not to venture out or feel like you can trust the third party vendors. They're not necessarily regulated by standards that we would know or recognize. And the bargain might not actually be a bargain if you end up late for the ship, on an unsafe piece of equipment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I've always booked through the cruise line, even though some of the other deals are pretty enticing.
Yes, perfectly put, Lisa.
Y'all hit all the great reasons right there. Safety, being vetted by the cruise lines, getting your money back if it's canceled, getting back on time to the ship, guaranteed. Now, I have heard stories too also where some people had booked cruises through third parties, and then when they got to the port, they couldn't find them. And so I talked to some of them, years later, and they was telling us about their experience. And they says, yeah, we found out we were supposed to take a taxi to meet them somewhere, but we didn't know that. They didn't tell us that. Or well, the time was different. Could have been the ship difference in time basis theirs, or it could have been they just didn't show up. Whatever the reason, and they weren't there, and they couldn't find the excursion, and of course, no money back.
Yeah.
Because the excursion is going to say, well, we were there. Where were you?
Right.
And yeah, I've heard enough stories like that, talking to cruisers on the ship who were also experienced and had learned from that and said, yeah, we booked through the ship now. So another reason to book through the cruise line. The only reason I hear people saying they want to book through third party typically is because, we're going to save a lot of money. Well, sometimes I check the prices on the excursion I'm booking through the ship and where I can find it online somewhere else. And listen to me now, y'all. Sometimes there's only $5 or $10 difference, and sometimes the cruise line's cheaper. So
yes, especially if you catch the sales like we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. So, and is it really worth it to save 10 or even $20 to take those risks? Not to me. It's not worth it to me.
Now, I will add one other thing. Now, this does get called a lot excursions, but let's just say you go to a resort or a day pass. I'm going to use one that I know very well, Paradise Beach in Cozumel. Okay, and I've actually done this myself. I don't really call that an excursion. Some people do, and that's fine if you do. Yeah. But you can use a third-party site, and you don't have to necessarily book with anybody when you get off the ship in Cozumel. But there's third-party sites such as a site I've used called Viator. Right. So you can use Viator to save money. And now this isn't any kind of sketchiness, or this isn't any kind of anybody in Mexico running this website where they're going to take your money. This actually does work. And there are times where you can save money on resort passes, day passes, excursion passes that aren't what we're really talking about here, like snorkeling and sea diving, cave and bad adventures. We're not talking about that. I'm just talking about Paradise Beach, going in an all-inclusive. I got it for $68, I believe, on Viator, and it was offered for $94 on the Carnival website. So I was able to save. I got myself back within 2.5 hours before the ship would take off. So there was nothing. Of course, it was my responsibility, mostly your responsibility, to get back on time anyway. But yeah, I saved money, and that is an example where I would use a third party, but that is a website to book a resort or a day pass for myself and my company. Guests.
And how did you get there, Scott? Were you able to walk there, or did you have to navigate transportation?
Taxi. It was a $9 taxi ride there, $9 taxi ride back. I paid the way going, and my friend paid the way going back. It was very easy.
That's not bad at all. I just you never know, you never know if they're giving you a deal,
Right.
or what it should actually cost you to get there. So just curious.
Yeah, I never look at that really as an excursion because, like you say, you can go down to a couple of those places there in Cozumel, take a taxi and go down there. I don't think that's really an excursion because they always got the taxis lined up out there in front of you. So that's kind of doing something separate.
But I would definitely recommend a site like Viator, at least looking at it. I don't have any referral codes or anything, not a sponsor, but definitely have used them. They've saved me $30 something on the same excursion or the same Paradise Beach everybody else was going to. So
right.
All right. Well, let's trip on down to number 3 here, y'all. Have you ever had a shore excursion canceled? And if you have, why was it canceled? Hey, Lisa, guess what? It's your turn to kick this off.
It's my turn. I'm really, really trying to think about that one. I cannot recall having one canceled other than like a weather-related situation where we weren't able to go into port. The tender, and I think this was in Grand Turk. We weren't able to. Is it Grand Turk? Grand Turk. You weren't. Wait, Grand Turk is with Grand Turk. Do you take a tender over? You take a tender, right?
Yeah, you do.
We couldn't get the tender to shore, in that it was just heavy rains, thunderstorm coming through. Not a full on tropical system, but we couldn't get off. So therefore, you missed your shore excursion. No problem. You got your money refunded and stuff like that. I know I talked about this when I went to Alaska. I have heard people talk about those situations where you're crossing over into Canada and making sure that you have your passport with you. Everybody doesn't like to carry the passport or want to have the card or a copy or whatever, and they basically were turned away from continuing on the excursion because they did not have that with them. So I can see it being canceled for those kind of reasons, but I personally have had really good luck with my excursions, and they've all gone on time except for the weather.
Weather's a big factor.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's one of those things, carrying your passport's another thing you need to know about your excursions before you go. I need to have my passport on it? Are cameras allowed? Because some places they don't allow any photography.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
What
That's
you got,
true.
Scott? You ever had one?
Let's see. So I think the only time I can remember personally where a excursion got canceled, I think me and my dad were going to go on I forget exactly what port it was, but we're going to go, deep sea fishing, way out, whole day. And my mom was going to hang out on the boat, I think, with my aunt. And it got canceled because the captain got food poisoning the night before.
Oh my gosh. Captain.
Oh, yeah. Or the maid or somebody very important in that whole making it all work.
Yeah.
So they had to, they messaged us late at night, and we were not able to go. So we just did something as a family out in the port. I don't exactly remember. I was quite young. I was probably 12, 13. But that is the only time that I can remember physically for me. Recently, if you want me to share a story, I was with my friend Richard, No Pants Profits, down in Alaska. And he was very excited to do the hovercraft boat. It's the little fan boat that goes on the back, and it kind of like takes you fly through the water. They all got into the boat. They loaded everybody on the fan boat, and it wouldn't start.
Oh.
Tried to control. Just wouldn't start. And then, like, it was like, and they were like, is this part of it? No, we're good. We're going to get it going. Tried it again, and it didn't go. So they pulled it back over, and they said, everybody go out in town, give us about 2 hours and come back. Or you can get your money back. He said, I'm getting my money back. I'm good. Apparently we get the boat fixed, but yes, that he canceled it for himself, got money back for him and a guest that he took with him. And I was in Ketchikan or wherever we were, Juneau, I forget where it was. And Yeah, well, I just hung out in port and met him afterwards, and he told me, yeah, my whole thing was canceled. The boat wouldn't start. I'm like, the boat wouldn't start, and he did it through Carnival, so he got all of his money back and all of that. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
I don't know if you know about boats, Chet, but does that sound 2 hours enough time to fix it? I'm with your friend. I don't know if I want to go on that.
Well, yeah, if you just got water in the fuel, you can dump that line out and get some new fuel, or if the spark plug's fouled out, you can clean it up or replace it. Usually that's all you're going to have with the boat, one of those two things. And I'd get that thing going in about 30 minutes.
All right.
That's what they said. They said it was something with the fan. The fan wasn't going, and they were just floating.
Well, we had one canceled once too. We were in Cozumel, and we did our excursion, and we left. We were supposed to go down. I can't remember if we was going back to Costa Rica or Honduras, one of those down there. And a storm was coming from the Pacific side over across, and they said, whoa, bad weather coming in from the west, so we can't go there. We're going to go back to Cozumel. It was like, okay. So they canceled our excursion, which we had booked through the cruise line, and they says, okay, you can get your money back, or you can use it towards a excursion in Cozumel. So, everybody was deciding which one they wanted to do. We booked another excursion in Cozumel. I believe it was our third trip to the Secret River, if I'm not mistaken. Me and Robin from Sea Lake Journeys were talking about that, and we're pretty sure that's what we did.
The Secret River.
It was easy going through the ship, though. We handled it right there on the ship, and we're scooped down and go back to Cozumel, short excursion. It was fantastic to do it that way. It was no problem at all. And that's just another one of those reasons why you want to book through the ship, just in case the weather, like Alisa was talking about, which is usually what happens for a shore excursion, happens, and you can get it fixed.
Have you seen this Secret River more than once, Chet?
3 times.
Woo, 3 times. Oh, boy.
3 times. It's an excursion you book out of Cozumel. Check it out. This is one of those you got to know before you go, guys, because when you get there, you're going to have to wear a wetsuit. You're going to have to take all your body jewelry out, all your jewelry, leave it behind. No cameras, no insect repellent, no perfume on you. They're going to make you take a shower. If you're claustrophobic, you can't go. A lot of things like that even on this excursion. And it's 90 minutes walking in a cave, and it ain't like you can just turn around and go back on your own. So,
it would not be a good time for me to go up. That's far enough.
Yeah, you get 20 minutes in. I gotta go to the bathroom. Sorry, you gotta wait another 70 minutes. Yeah.
This was another weather-related thing. But as we were talking, I've been to Perfect Day at Coco Cay a couple of times, and I wanted to do the up and away balloon. Haven't done it yet. It's been down because of high winds. So, same thing, no problem. That you get your money back because you could only book it through the cruise line. But you
what is that? What's up and away?
Up and away is like a big hot air balloon. That
We've done it.
Yeah, you've done it. You can you go in, and I was already a little nervous about it because I was worried about the motion sickness, because if it starts spinning because of the winds, I'd have a problem. But I would love to go up and get the overview of the whole island and seeing everybody just coming on off the boat and having a good time. So you guys managed to do it, Chet? Yes,
and we did it during the COVID times, so there was only 4 of us, I think, on the whole balloon, because we had to be spaced so far apart that, me and Robin was over here, and I think the other 2 people were on the other side, and we could rotate around. We'd walk around as long as we weren't getting next to each other.
Yeah.
Getting to see everything. You got to do it. When you go back, Alisa, don't be afraid. Get on that thing.
I'm going to try it, because now it's a mission. Because
you have a video on your page by any chance, Chet?
Yeah, it's not a great one, because we just had we're just doing it with the phone, I think, with no gimbal. So it's a little squirrely, but it does settle down enough at times that you can see everything. You get to see the whole island and what you'll get.
I know what I'm watching after this podcast.
I might need to watch too, just in case I don't get to go.
It's just good enough. It'll pique your interest, I think, to want to do it.
And I think Sea Lake Journeys might be sponsoring our podcast today.
You know
We
what?
love Sea Lake Journeys. They are sponsoring today's Conscious Cruiser podcast number 8. Check out Chet and Robin from Sea Lake Journeys for all of your fun, squeaky cruise and travel adventures.
Hi, I'm Robin. This is Chet, and we're Sea Lake Journeys.
That's right. So come on with us, and we're going to show you the ships, the ports, and the excursions that we do while we're cruising.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and of course, YouTube.
That's right. So come on and join us on all the fun things we're going to do. We also have live shows Wednesday and Friday morning at 8:30 Eastern Time and Sunday night at 6 p.m. So come on and join us there too.
And don't forget, we have a wide variety of videos on YouTube, from everything from the food, to the rooms, to the excursions, to the ships.
That's right. So come on and join us for the fun here at Sea Lake Journeys.
Such a fun, wonderful cruise channel. Sea Lake Journeys, Chet and Robin. Check them out.
But hey,
Good.
we'll get back to our last question here. And it's the question of the cast, y'all. Woo! What was your most favorite and or memorable excursion? Which
easy.
one was it?
Easy
Scott.
for me. Easy. I can answer it eyes closed.
Do it, Scott. Do it with your
I
eyes
don't know what
closed.
that would do, but it was the Glacier Express in Tracy Arm Fjord when you take the little tiny boat to the big glacier. Luckily, we got to go to North Sawyer and South Sawyer both because it was so visible and such an amazing day out on the glacier that we got to go up close to both of them. I had myself a wonderful glacierito with the actual glacier ice and some salmon crispies, chippies, biscuit chippy thingies. They were also very, very good. The staff was amazing. The way that they explained and told you about the nature and wildness that you were passing while you were passing it, there will be probably, and I will say this, no better excursion that I ever do than that little tiny Glacier Express boat. And if you are interested, it is only available in the fjords there. And it's about $249 a person. So definitely well worth the excursion prices in Alaska. And I did book that through Carnival. Yes.
I've heard lots of good things about that one.
Favorite.
I want to do it one day. I want to. You got a video up, Scott?
I do have a video, probably about a 20-25 minute video. Tried to show everybody around the ship, show them as they were speaking to, and also show the people that I was with. I was actually with my aunt too as well. My aunt June from Journeys with June and Brady got to go with me too as well.
June.
Yes. Super fun. I love it. My favorite.
I'm checking that out this afternoon.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about Alaska, mine were pretty good this summer too. I was not expecting to enjoy the White Pass train as much as I did. I think I thought it was kind of like, it's a train, you guys. How good could it be? But all right, I'll go. Amazing, breathtaking. Wow. Can't say enough good things about it. It was definitely worth the trip, the time, the money, all of that. And if I get to go back to Alaska, it's in I do it again.
Ranked number 1 overall, even
it's
over Caribbean ports.
I don't know if overall, but it's fresh in my mind. It was a good trip. It was a good trip.
I saw that video, Alisa. It was great. We'd done that trip. And the next time you go, do it with the dual part. And what I mean by that is there's a bus ride that takes you up and you see a whole bunch of other stuff and ride the train back.
Yes.
Yukon experience, I think they call it. But
sounds right.
But our favorite one is also from Alaska. We're, great minds think alike, I guess. It's that old helicopter and dog sled, y'all. Out of Juneau, we got off the ship and took the helicopter up to that glacier and got off and rode those dogs around that glacier. It is an experience of a lifetime. And like you say, Scott, some of these in Alaska are really expensive. It was $600 a piece for that one, but well worth it. we were ready to do it again as soon as we got done. It was like, can we do it again? Can we rebook it again? Quick, somebody give me your credit card, you know.
We get a do-over right now.
Yeah. It was that good. It's definitely me and Robin we both agreed that was our favorite one ever. And we got, I think, probably the best video we've ever made on our channel is on that. And if that don't make you want to go do it, I don't know what will. But we loved it. We loved it.
Yeah.
That is so funny that all three of our number ones, or at least a very fresh in our mind,
they're high up there.
Awesome excursion all come from Alaska. And we did not plan that either, by the way. You know, we all kind of have our notes here, but we all have our own answers, and we don't really share our answers with each other until the podcast. That's why we learn together with you guys. I'm also learning, and it's just amazing. I can't believe we all picked Alaska. Look at us.
I know. You know, people are going to think that we have a conference or meetup before this, but we don't. We do it all individually and then come together.
We have maybe a 30-second meetup before we hit record.
Make sure the sound and the camera works. I think next time I'm going to have somebody say, "Hey, Chet, did you put up the promos?" Give me 5 more minutes. I'll be right back.
All good. All good.
I will say this, though, and I don't know if some things may pop up. They may pop up. But as of right now, everybody can come at me, too, in the comments. But as of right now, with the 4 stops that I have in Hawaii and 1 in Ensenada, I'm not counting Ensenada, but 4 stops I have in Hawaii, 0 shore excursions booked. 0 shore excursions planned.
What?
When we had ours booked in 2020 and it had got canceled 3 or 4 times, we had a stop on every island, and man, they were expensive like Alaska too.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, so what's your plan instead? I mean, are you just planning to explore? What are you going to do?
So I am definitely an explorer at nature. I am very lucky. The person that I am traveling with, he likes to, no pants prophet, he likes to fly by the seat of his shorts, I should say. But he always comes up with something very interesting, whether it's something around town that he had gotten a referral from somebody else. I've also been scouring the internet looking too, or it is one of those once in a lifetime excursions. He can probably talk me into doing one of those with him. One of those that I did get talked into was the Glacier Express, and he actually gifted that as a birthday gift to me. So he actually bought that excursion for me as a birthday gift. But he would have talked me into it already because all of our party was going, and I would say, okay, take my card, go ahead, I'm going. So I'm sure there'll be something like that in Hawaii along one of the ports that he'll talk me into some kind of shore excursion. But as of right now, I got 0 planned. He has never been there. I have never been there, and I just love not being restricted, being able to walk around in port in the different shops, go in and out, eat lunch, sit down, look out at the water, do nothing, get lost in my thoughts. And I just, I like to be on my own time.
Well, I would recommend that you get the shark cage, Scott. Go out there, they take you out and they put you in the steel cage and lower you down in the water. And they got the great whites. Yes, great whites and makos and all kinds of sharks coming around you. Yeah, and the water just got chummed from the fishermen coming in. The fishing boats came by, threw all their garbage out, and the sharks are there. Yeah, if I was there with you, I would talk you into that one.
I was going to say something about one of the volcanoes. I think you should go and do one of those kind of hikes, or
Oh yeah, definitely going to do one of those hikes.
Something like that. That sounds amazing. And the good thing is that it's still the U.S. Our extreme far state, but the locals will be friendly and be happy to show you and tell you where to go, and you could hop a city bus if you had to get to them. So you'll be fine.
And more self-guided hike. I would definitely do a self-guided hike, maybe hit a coffee shop, an authentic Hawaiian coffee shop before, get me up to the top of the mountain, come on down, or volcano, top of the volcano, come back down, and then go to a brewery in Hawaii and reward myself.
Yes.
You deserve it, Scott.
Excursions by Captain Controversy.
Well, we
Well,
can't
guys-
wait to hear all about it.
Yeah, me
thank you.
too. I want to go. I want to go so I can talk you into that shark cage. But
All right.
well, we've sure had a great episode here on excursion tips. We hope all of our
Yes.
listeners here have picked up a few things that they need to know before they go, because that's what the Conscious Cruiser here is all about.
Yes.
So, signing off for Alisa's Adventures in Cruising, Sea Lake Journeys, Chet and Scott from Controversial Cruising. We want to remind you before we go, though, what we have coming up next week. What have we got, Alisa?
This will have already aired, but on Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, I'm doing a Look Who's Cruising Now at 3 p.m. So you can look for that. And then on Monday evening, after our podcast drops at 7 p.m. is the Monday Mood Check. So if you're looking for some cruise chat and a couple of laughs, come on in.
I will.
Good.
I'll try to be there too.
Thank you.
Scott,
They're the
Scott,
best.
you can go ahead and rub it in a little bit and tell us where you're going to be next week.
So next week, so for the next 2 weeks, all of the lives except for, and this is special, except for the Conscious Cruiser will all be canceled. So everything else in the Sea Wave Lounge and Cruise Talk Live, we're going to keep that on hold until I get back. Let all of my co-hosts kind of take a relaxation and a couple weeks off, except the co-host that I have up here with me right now. Because we will keep it rolling. And the only thing I have to tell you about is next week's episode, and I will tease, will be all about day number 1, embarkation day. So all the tips to know before you
Nice.
go, specifically for embarkation day. And now I know we had our very first episode where it was know before you go cruise tips. This is going to be different because this is going to be really, really honed in on that number 1 day embarkation day for everybody. So I'm excited.
It's exciting stuff.
Very exciting.
2 days for me, by the way. That's embarkation day.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh,
I
he's
think he was trying to rub that one
in.
in. What do you think, Chet? I think
I think he has to get in the shark cage now. Oh,
Have
you know,
fun,
this is-
Scott.
if you get a chance to go live on the ship on your way there, let us know. You know how to get a hold of us, me and Alisa, and who knows, maybe we could do something like this live while you're on the ship.
Maybe we could. I'm talking about shark cages and volcanoes, though. I'm phoning a friend. I'm calling Tiffany Lava Shark to help me. Okay. So,
Ooh,
Tiffany.
good.
thank you,
Or
Tiffany.
part shark,
yeah. We got a shark. Oh.
All right, guys. So we'll see you Monday at 8:30. This week will be Sea Lake Journeys for the podcast on Spotify or the live version, almost live with me and Alisa and Scott in the chat. Maybe Scott, because he'll be, Hawaii or something like that. But yeah, we're going to have a great week next week anyway. And then we'll see you the following Monday on Scott's channel, Controversial Cruising. Woo!
Right. For
So
embarkation
until-
day.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you to Alisa's Adventures in Cruising and Scott from Controversial Cruising. I'm Chet from Sea Lake Journeys, and we'll see you on the next podcast next time.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.